Did you hear about the Trump administration wanting to look through social media posts of tourists before they come to the United States? Oh, buddy, have I. Under a new proposed guideline for the good old Department of Homeland Security, tourists to the United States would have to reveal 5 years of social media activity under a new Trump plan. And in the lead up to the World Cup, too. That'll be good. You might as well just ban tourism altogether. Honestly, why bother keeping the dredges? Not going to have a United States anytime soon? Seriously. The mandatory new disclosures would apply to the 42 countries whose nationals are currently permitted to enter the U.S. without a visa, including our longtime allies. So this isn't like for Somalia or whatever. This is for residents from, like, no hate, but the important countries. In a notice published on Tuesday, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency said it would also require any telephone numbers used by visitors over the same period, any email addresses used in the last decade, as well as face, fingerprint, DNA, and iris biometrics. It would also ask for the names, addresses, birth dates, and birthplaces of family members, including children. There is absolutely no way this gets implemented. This is not doable. Again, you might as well just ban tourism. Absolutely insane. This is, like, again, so I know I keep saying they have no intention of building anything, but this is legitimately like what happens when your policy is interpreted and implemented by groypers. Like, these are a bunch of DHS goons giggling as they type out, and we should make the blacks give us their fingerprints. They'll never get into Agartha. Like, it's so unserious. Like, I guarantee this isn't going to survive implementation. If it does get implemented, it's going to be changed or revoked in like no time at all. This doesn't do anything. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't meaningfully advance the interests of the Trump administration. It doesn't implement their agenda. It doesn't even give them anything to brag about. All it does is significantly reduce tourism. That's it. It's not even a real policy. CBP said the new changes to the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, or ESTA, sounds woke, Spanish, application were required in order to comply with an executive order issued by Trump on the first day of his new term. So in other words, these giggling psychopaths are doing this because they've been given leeway to by the incredibly broad executive order slew that the president put out on his first day in office. You know? In it, the U.S. president called for restrictions to ensure visitors to the U.S., quote, do not bear hostile attitudes towards its citizens, culture, government, institutions, or founding principles. Again, it's not going to stay. You would just get rid of all tourism, you know? Our country relies on tourism quite a bit. Many of our industries benefit from it. It's not going to survive. They really are acting like they're never losing power. Oh, is this the leaked national security documents where we talk about our future strategy with Europe, and our strategy is basically like to dismantle the EU? We'll talk about that in a second because it's kind of related. The plan would throw a wrench into travel for the World Cup. How funny would it be if they implemented this and then at the World Cup, every time it's hosted in the United States, there are a bunch of empty seats in the stadium? That would be fucking funny. Tourism to the U.S. has already dropped dramatically on Trump's second term as the president has pushed a draconian crackdown on immigrants, including recent moves to ban all asylum claims and to stop migration entirely from more than 30 countries. California tourism authorities are predicting a 9% decline in foreign visits to the state this year. Hollywood Boulevard in L.A. reported a 50% fall in foot traffic over the summer. Jesus Christ, 50%? Canadian residents who made a return trip by car dropped 36.9% in July 2025 when compared to the same month in 2024. The U.S. has already started squeezing foreign tourism in other ways, slapping an additional $100 fee per foreign visitor per day to visit national parks. Oh, man. You know, stuff like this makes me so... I feel like you're way more fucked than you think. Well, the administration is more fucked than we think. And, like, the American economy, you know? 100%. I'm thankful personally that they're this incompetent. That makes me happy. I like that, you know? I like the fact that they're not dismantling the country in a way that kind of prolongs it. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you be a little bit happy if you were captured by the king and the king was like, send out the torturer, make his suffering prolonged and excruciating. And then the torturer comes out And he's like, "Oh, geez, it's my first day here. Okay, knife, go." And then he like immediately nicks your carotid artery, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess this is gonna last like 90 seconds." The torturer is like, "You'll be here for years," and you're like, "No, the fuck, I'm not, dude. I'm good night, night, y'all." I don't know. It's comforting, right? I mean, either way, you're carotid artery, not cardio, carotid. Yeah, sorry. Um, Either way, you're dying on the rack, right? It's really just a matter of how prolonged it is, and stuff like this makes me feel good. It's like, okay, you got my fucking neck. I don't like dying though. The dying is happening either way in this analogy. Okay? It's really just a matter of how much you suffer before you die. The country is dying either way. I'm sorry. There's no obviously a country can be reborn. It's not literally a living thing, but it's there's no getting around the fact that we're in for the century of American humiliation. You're probably going to live to see like it's not even going to end by the time you die of old age. If you make it that far. They're denying visas for people who are believed to try to go for birth tourism. Yeah, good. Just do everything. Just do everything to break the country. Who cares? Denying visas to people who apply and meet all the requirements, but they think that it's like a brown person who's going to try to get like birthright citizenship with their kid. Nope, sorry, not happening. Just break everything. Who fucking cares? Whatever. No pregos, uggos, or fatties. That's what I'm saying. That statement's actually woke because uggos and fatties in separate categories means they acknowledge there are beautiful fat people, beautiful plus-sized individuals, I might say. Which, yeah, that's true. Absolutely. And ugly, skinny people? Well, we know that's a thing. Can react to the Christy Gnome thing? No, because I'm reacting to this thing. I have to do one thing at a time. I'm a being locked in the same temporal river as the rest of you, right? So I have to... Now, the future me might address that subject, but at the moment, I'm still kind of committed to this one. It's a little bit rude to try to skip the line, don't you think? Seriously, I feel like the carotid artery has been nicked. Did I say it properly that time? I love it when the Trump administration demonstrates that they're not smart enough to keep this going. I didn't say it correctly? Okay, well, whatever, man. Carotid? 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 What are you talking? No, your emphasis is off. You're all being ableist right now against live streamers. The one before? Fuck you guys. I saw an article from a right-wing mega news site bragging about new rare metal vertical integration production in North America secured, national sovereignty locked in. Then it admits the mines and refinery are all in Canada. That's pretty funny. That's pretty fucking funny. The free speech advocacy group condemned the new tourism requirement. I wonder, here's the goal. Folks, here's the plan, okay? That we goad the Trump administration into being so bad for US tourism that we negatively polarize Disney into joining woke again. Because right now Disney is 100% siding with the administration. But if we bring down the Disney World numbers enough, we might be able to pull them over. Did you see Don Jr. getting a no-bid $700 million contract from the DoD for rare earth metals? Oh yeah, that stuff's happening every day. Every day, the resources of our country are being looted and given to people close to Trump. Yeah, it's a kleptocracy. It's the most naked corruption that this country has ever seen at the presidential level, with no comparison. Nothing else even comes close. There is nothing Andrew Jackson did that was more unconstitutional than this. There's nothing Nixon did that was more corrupt than this. There's no historical precedent. At any other point in time in American history, everyone involved in this already would have been impeached, arrested, and quite possibly sentenced for high treason, which there's one punishment for. Super jail, you know? Funnily enough, this happened in the first term, too. Not like this, man. Not like this. But if they keep doing it like this, then, I don't know. Maybe it'll all be over soon. Can you imagine presenting all this information because you want to attend the World Cup in the United States? Meanwhile, keep in mind that if you misrepresent anything or forget anything, you're giving Customs and Border Patrol a legal pretext to violently deport you from the country on the claim that you lied in your visa application. Logistically, it's impossible. Yeah, but it'll still work as a deterrent, you know? There's going to be a coup if this continues. Yeah, from from Disney. For sure, for sure. Man, Let me find that national security strategy bit. Yeah, here we go. Because it's kind of related to how we're treating, our tourists, promoting European greatness. A leaked document outlining our foreign, like our national security policy moving into the future, basically says that we are looking to destabilize the EU and promote the far right across Europe. So far, it seems like the Trump administration has failed to do this. In fact, they've done the exact opposite. America is falling apart so quickly, and we look so terrible to most Europeans that it's led to a whiplash effect against far right parties in the look what happened in France. Look what happened in Spain. Look what happened in the Netherlands. Things are a little bit different in the United Kingdom right now. I'll admit, we'll have to wait a little bit to see how things go right there. We're still not entirely sure how things are going to play out in Germany too. I feel like that one's a little bit on the edge. We're tied to you guys. Yeah, but for the most part, look, if the goal is to give Europe up to Russia to weaken EU hegemony and make them more susceptible to Russian influence, we failed miserably. Miserably, absolutely miserably. We've galvanized Europe against Russia. Their defense industries are all revving back up because none of them trust us to protect them. We've done the exact opposite. We have not in any way made the people of the European Union more, I don't know, susceptible to Russian influence. I mean, of course, Russia, like, to an extent, puppets and funds the AfD and the Reform Party and so on. But beyond that, like, that's been the case for a while. The broader reach is not getting worse. I'd be fine with cutting off the UK entirely. Yeah, sure. But, like, we're in the same boat as them. Trump set a deadline for Europe to lead at NATO by 2027. I love the spirit of this beautiful country that I live in, but I gotta say, stuff like this really call me an attention whore. I like living where the action is. America's not going to be a superpower for much longer at this rate. We're doing everything in our power to make ourselves unexceptional. Just another backwater, low IQ, like Hungary, like just some washed up. Like, we haven't even been ravaged by war or foreign occupation, but pretty soon we'll have the politics of a country that was. U.S. wants to persuade four nations to leave the EU. It's not happening. Yeah, I know. We just saw that. It's literally not happening. That's a joke. This is a joke. You fucking kidding me? Leaving the EU? Everyone saw what happened in Brexit. The Brexit majority has collapsed, Something like 2/3 of British people, even in that blighted fucking country where they're all voting for reform next. Like, reform's going to have like 400 parliament seats next election or whatever. Even in the UK, they're still like, maybe we should have... Oh, I don't know about that one, mate. Maybe Brexit was a bit of a wash, eh? The classified version of the strategy, which warned of civilizational erasure because of mass immigration and multiculturalism, they have made being racist so fucking gay. Like, it used to be all of these big, great replacement talking points were largely relegated to the dissident alt-right, these edgy YouTubers who, lurk from the shadows before getting banned for their controversial opinions. And now it's like every day the government, this fat Wojak, blubs out to the podium and says, our way of life is being destroyed. And then they go back and do nothing. Every day we get a new open the gates to Agartha speech, and then every day nothing happens. They've made it so toothless. Day is full. Welcome to Valhalla, Charlie. See you in Valhalla, brother, yeah? Anyway, tourism is basically going to be illegal, unless they change something. The Fed cut rates again? Yerp.